the big boss that's special. It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level. Second level gaming. Second level.
Hello, Internet, and welcome back, or welcome to episode 22 of Indie Please I Details. My name's Keegan, one half of Two Gamers, hanging out at the other end of this table. Tom, the other half. How you doing today, Tom?
I'm grand. How are you?
Good. And last time we had a guest, we called the meat in the sandwich, so I guess we'll do it again. We got a meat in the sandwich with us today.
I'm vegetarian.
She can be like a eggplant in
She'll
the
be
sandwich.
the eggplant in the sandwich, or salad, or
Who knows?
tomatoes, either dressing.
Mushrooms.
She's gonna make us look good. Deb, aka EZILII on Twitch, twitch.tv/EZILII.
Oh my God, you got
Yes,
it.
that
Look
is
at that.
like I was like, I want to make sure I say it right. So she'll be joining us for Indie Please I Details and the official Level 2 podcast that you can catch on Friday. But this is Indie Please I Details, our weekly dip into the world of indie games and indie developers, where we discuss the news and our indie excursions throughout the week. Topping it all off with a topic of discussion you can join in the comments down below. This is where Tom always judging me every time. You can listen to us on your favorite podcast services: Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes. I always forget iTunes. Or you can see our lovely faces on level2gamers.com. And with our lovely studio, which to you is a green screen, but to them is an actual cool,
It's magic.
cool looking thing. You can continue discussion off air, but online if you hit us up on Twitter at level2gamersstl or Discord, link in the description. Without further ado, I did it.
Yeah,
You
it was
did.
good. It was a good
It's
run.
so hard
It
to
was
do that every
excellent.
time. It's like Tom.
Don't you pass it off to each other?
No,
No,
not for this one.
we do different shows.
Yeah.
Tom does. It's funny because like I do the same intro, the hello internet, and I think it was the podcast last time. You're like, do you almost say the wrong name? And I do it all the time. I'm like,
Yeah.
hello internet, and welcome up. Not that podcast.
Forgets which podcast we're doing in the middle of the introduction.
Yeah,
That's
and it like takes a second. Like go.
content creation 101.
Yeah.
Figure stuff out.
Remember-
Well, we always do. We always do
Remember
discussion
what
of
show you're doing.
and what number.
Right.
That's the other thing.
Yeah, I always forget the number.
Take
So
notes.
let's move into detail number one.
Go
And
for it.
detail number one is developer Chubby Pixel reveals
It's an interesting developer.
Suicide
name.
Guy is coming to Switch.
Suicide Guy?
Yes. So this is from DualShockers.com.
Sounds terrible.
And a surprise announcement for the indie developer friendly Twitter hashtag screenshot Saturday, Fabio Ferreira. That's a hell of a name.
Quite the name.
Yeah. Co-founder of Milan-based indie studio Chubby Pixel revealed his game Suicide Guy will be coming to Switch. Even better, fans of the game will see it released as early as this year. Now, what is Suicide Guy? Despite the name, it is much less bleak than you would expect.
Thank
Sporting
God.
an art style similar to Hello Neighbor, Suicide Guy is a non-conventional story about escape. Suicide Guy is stuck in his own dream, and the only way for him to actually get out of the imagined world is finding a way to kill himself in dream. So that's where the Suicide
That's still
Guy
pretty
comes
fucking bleak.
in. However, you can't expect this task to be easy, as the cute and colorful environment works as hard as they can to prevent you from carrying out the ultimate task. There's way more here, but basically, the Suicide Guy is coming to Nintendo Switch. Another indie on Switch. Do you have a Switch?
I
she had to
Here
think.
comes the story.
we do have a Switch.
Mm-hmm.
A family friend gave it to my husband out of the blue.
Oh, really?
lovely.
There you go.
I'm like-
That's like when we got an Xbox out of the blue. That was like, what?
Do you play it?
We only have Zelda.
I mean,
So you don't... So
No,
good to
actually, I
have.
get a private. I start to sleep on the sofa, and I'm sleeping while he's doing a private stream, aka I'm watching him on the sofa.
ah,
You know, like what you used to do. And
that sounds
like,
real
you know,
creepy.
well, I mean, we're married, so
Yes.
we're allowed to be creepy.
well. Yeah, I'm surprised that
'Cause indies on the
Nintendo
Switch-
are allowing a game called
Suicide
Suicide
That's my
Guy.
first thought. Was
Well,
like,
do you see...
on
So I've been watching
Nintendo-
Game Grumps playing Thousand Year Door.
Right.
There's a swinging noose in that game,
Right.
and it's Mario. And I was like, what the hell? That doesn't-
Yeah,
doesn't go
yeah.
together.
Well,
That's weird.
But-
do you think it's walking down like the grim path of like Disney? Because Disney has all these subtle.
Little things. I think it's interesting because I think Nintendo with the Switch is starting to do more of the, I don't want to call it adult stuff, but they're leaning more towards that because they understand that they
Like
have the
2
audience
weeks
going
after
on.
they released Cardboard.
Yeah. What was that called? Labo?
Hey, like Labo. or
Labo?
something like
Hey, that could be the next big thing. Who knows?
Labia.
It's
That's what it's
labia.
called. Yeah.
No, it's not a labia. That's,
Yeah,
that is something else.
that's like I almost said that on the air
That's
the other
something
day,
else.
and everybody was like,
Oh, you're allowed to say whatever you want on
Yeah.
this show.
Yeah.
You can go crazy if you want to.
So, But yeah, it's just another indie game coming to Switch. Switch has done really well.
Yeah, I mean, it's great news for Switch. Obviously, it's nice for Nintendo Switch fans to get something that is a little bit more adult.
I'm not familiar with the title. Is it somewhere else?
It's on PC already, so it's coming. It's coming to consoles later on as well. Xbox and PS4. It's been announced for, but Switch was the holdout because. Probably Nintendo.
Yeah.
Or
probably Nintendo guys
Dev,
going, what's it called again?
Or Dev. I mean, Chubby Pixel making
what?
Suicide Guy. Chubby Pixel making Suicide Guy.
The picture looks interesting.
Yeah,
there.
it's Hello Neighbor. Like, it looks like the Hello Neighbor.
Yeah,
It does look a little bit like Hello Neighbor, yeah.
Hello Neighbor was not what I expected it to be either when I dove into it. It's scary.
It's quite scary.
It was not prepared. Yeah. Tom, you would like it. I didn't.
I saw Jacksepticeye playing it. I thought it looked interesting, but yeah, that is awesome developer name, Chubby Pixel. Big fan of that. Yeah. Not so great name of your game
Suicide
if
Guy.
it's not about suicide, but it kind of
it is
by the sounds of it.
You
So
gotta kill yourself in the dream.
I don't know about it not being so bleak. The only part of the bleak is like it was all a dream. Yeah. You know.
It's also bleak.
Well,
It's part of
I
the
mean,
dream.
I'm sure there's people that read into dreams, and there's
Right?
probably like some.
Well, did you play? What was the car game?
The car game?
Yeah, that you played when you're on the cliff.
Oh, Far From Noise.
Have you heard of that game?
I've seen it played.
It's really, really cool. I've not played it. He played it, but he told me I need to play it because it makes him feel better about his life.
It is. It's like taking a couple Xanax and just kind of laying back, man. It's totally uplifting as far as video games go, which is rare.
Yeah.
Especially compared to Suicide Guy, which I assume is not that uplifting.
Well, I mean, we can't just judge a book by its cover.
True. I'll wait until I've tried it, and I will try it because I have a Switch and I can do that.
Dude, Switch is like king of indies right now, and that makes me happy. I need a Switch. I'm debating on buying one.
I think that's awesome that people are developing for the Switch and that it's not taking like gobs of money. Because previously it's like, well, I could maybe get it on Windows and I could maybe launch it on Steam, or hopefully my website can support the sale.
Yeah.
Because nobody else will let me sell it.
You know, I feel like as well developers are getting a bigger kick out of Switch games because like we've shown a couple weeks previous that every game that seems to end up on the Switch, even if it was released on PlayStation like a year before, has like way more sales on Switch because Switch is a hungry fan base for games because they have the first
Zeldas,
party
the Marios,
stuff.
Right,
Yeah,
but
you know.
they're lacking like diversity in the titles.
Correct. Yeah.
So
What's next?
Detail number 2. More games coming to consoles. Motion Twin announces Dead Cells coming to consoles this year.
We talked about this the other day, didn't we?
Yeah.
Dead Cells. Rings a bell.
We did.
I can't remember what we talked about.
I've been told I have to play it.
Yeah, it looks amazing. I think you would love it. I don't think I'd like it. Motion Twin is excited to announce that Dead Cells will be coming to Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Xbox One this year. A release date will be announced at a later time. Having sold more than 600,000 copies while in early access on Steam, the developers at Motion Twin can't wait for console players to see the finished results of their hard work in early access. This is from Steve Philby, producer at Motion Twin. Quote, "We're thrilled to finally confirm that we'll be bringing Dead Cells experience to console players. We're proud of what we've done with the help of the PC community and can't wait to see how the gaming community at large react. We'll be at PAX East next April, so come say hi. You might even sneak a peek at the game on console. Dead Cells is currently available in early access on Steam and GOG, goodoldgames.com.
I remember what it was.
They changed the price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they changed the price mid-early access. That's
Yes.
what it was.
And we had a debate about that. What's your thought? So they sold this initially for I think it's $17.99.
It was
They upped it-
17
they
and then they
upped it
moved
$2.
it to like
Yeah.
19 or something. It wasn't a
They're
lot.
just rounding out the dollars.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah,
I think it's okay to do that mid
Early access.
Early access.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. I agree.
Like,
yeah.
I was
fine.
fighting
$20. Like why? Like woohoo! $17.99.
It was like a
Like-
$3 difference, which is why I really $2-3 difference. That's why I wasn't really that fussed about it. But like, I think we were talking.
If
more
it went from 17
Yeah.
to like 30,
Yeah.
more of a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what am I getting for this extra?
But Dead Cells looks exciting. But yeah, it was one of those things where like we had the debate where it was a whole debate we had with how much is when you up the price, how much you adding, how much is supposed to be in the original game, all that kind of stuff. This is the debate we had.
Well, it's also important to understand that there's a difference between early access and finished product. If they went to finished product and the price was upped, and I bought it early access, I'd be like, wow, I saved money.
Yes.
If I didn't buy it during early access and I discovered the prices double, I'll be mad at myself and I'll wait for a sale.
There you go.
Man, she should just be here
Yeah.
to mediate
She makes it sound smart.
all of our arguments.
And more.
What are you
Detail
guys,
number
married?
3. Yeah.
basically.
I feel like it sometimes. And more things coming to console.
Man.
The Long Reach, which you played, right?
I haven't played it yet. I do
have
it. It was given to me by the developer, and I have it for Mac, which is why I haven't played it, because I'm not really good at using keyboard and mouse.
I'm going to read off my phone because I couldn't get the email to pull up on here.
Sure.
So, The Long Reach. Merge Games and Painted Black Games, a Ukrainian/Russian indie game developer, that's a long way to develop a game across countries.
Is it?
Are pleased to announce the forthcoming release of The Long Reach. At its heart, it's an adventure game, but closer inspection also reveals that it's a thrilling horror story flavored with sci-fi ideology, psychological context, and skeptical view on the human psyche. The Long Reach takes place in New Hampshire. Or is that New Hampshire? Is it English?
Hampshire. No, you're right.
Hampshire?
I think it is an American place, but it's pronounced Hampshire.
In the fictional town of
Hampshire.
Bearvox.
It's the Shire.
It's the Shire of Hamp.
Of Hamp.
Yeah, see?
Really, the Shire should be called the Shire. I'm just saying.
The game draws its inspiration from Lone Survivor in the Cave and all the classical adventures, except that The Long Dark Reach is set in present day. You don't play in a post-apocalyptic world or explore a fairy-filled fantasy world. You're in the thick of it, just around the corner from the place where you might buy your groceries in New Hampshire.
In New Hampshire.
And then it goes on and tells a little bit more about it. It comes out March 13th on PS4 for $15.
You just reminded me why I asked for it, because of all the psychological
this is a Tom game.
Horror stuff. I love that stuff.
It sounds fascinating.
Yeah, it's a pixelated art style, and it looks cool. It's definitely not a me game.
Pixelated or 8-bit?
8-bit. Pixeled art style.
But is it like what she's saying? Is it a style, but it's actually like really well done, or is it like does it look like it was made for the NES? It to me, if I remember correctly, it does look like it's pixel based, but it's not like shitty looking.
Yeah.
It's decent looking.
I can show you the picture. We'll have it behind us.
It's almost
send an email.
It's like 1632.
Dear NSA, please help.
Help! They're kidnapping me in their basement. But yeah, I'm excited.
We're in a basement?
Yeah.
This doesn't look like a basement.
I have a studio in my basement that a guy made for us. So really, this is why I like sci-fi, because we just press a little switch and the whole basement turns into this wonderful world that we're in right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
See the TV right there?
It's like...
It's cool, right?
How does that happen?
I don't
Magic.
know. Our wonderful friend, Mr. Eric the Animator, a.k.a. Wheezy.
Yeah. Hey, he did my emotes.
Yeah, we heard that. Or I heard that.
Sweet.
I don't know if you heard that. I heard that.
I did not hear that, but I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Why do you say I don't talk to him? Yeah, I talk to him. Not often, but I do.
when you need something.
Keep going.
Anyways, detail number 4. SEGA and Interior Night partner develop a new narrative-driven IP. This is a Tom one.
Narrative.
This is from DualShockers. Last October, developers from Quantic Dream, Sony, and Slightly Mad Studios left their companies and formed Interior Night, a developer whose goal is to create narrative games aimed at mature TV audience. That's Tom in a nutshell.
Mature TV audience?
Yeah.
Make sure to check the mature box on Twitch before you go live.
It seems that we'll finally be able to achieve this vision, as SEGA Europe has announced today that they are partnering with the studio to develop a new narrative-driven IP. This partnership is part of SEGA's recent efforts to find and work with new studios in order to create interesting new IPs. Remember that news from last week? SEGA's trying to make they hired what's his face?
I'm just happy SEGA's still doing things.
Yeah, amen.
They've never stopped.
You know what I mean though. Like, I mean, I was there in the console war and I was on SEGA's side, so after that war ended, I was pretty sad that, the Dreamcast kind of flopped and everything. Well, not flopped, but didn't sell as many units as they wanted it to, and then they kind of abandoned console creation.
Well, I mean, making hardware is one thing, making games is another.
Yeah,
and they've games that go on multiple pieces of hardware, and you...
Yep, it's a legacy of Sega.
Yeah.
But Quantic is more exciting to me, because Quantic are fantastic. Although they have some sketchy stuff going on at Quantic Studios right now. Which is David Cage and all those guys. Well, they have there's been these like the whole Me Too thing. There's been some sexual harassment stuff thrown out at Quantic's in Quantic Studios. I don't know the ins and outs of it, so I don't want to like discuss it too
absolutely.
hardcore. But apparently David Cage and some of the higher up peoples at Quantic were like completely like oblivious to it. So I don't know whether that's
true or.
I mean, they're a French studio, so I don't know. I think attitudes in France are a little looser towards some of that stuff, so I don't know exactly what went on, but I do know that it made the news anyway. So yeah,
cool. Interior Night CEO Caroline Markle, who has previously worked at Quantic Dream on titles like Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls, also commented working with Sega Europe for her studio's first big game. Quote, "We're very excited to work with Sega on our very first narrative game. Sega have demonstrated a strong desire to take risks, innovate, and work collaboratively with studios. With their help and support, we're confident Interior Night can deliver a great narrative experience to existing gamers and to a broader audience."
keep your eye on it
So,
for sure.
Yeah, I knew Tom would like that because it's
It's a sweet logo too.
yeah.
I like that.
But
logo.
in that like release, they mentioned Theme Hospital.
Did they?
Higher up.
Have you played Theme Hospital?
I'm excited for Two Rivers Hospital or whatever. There's like a follow up.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about because I saw it the other day. I can't remember the name of it is, but I know what you're talking about because I saw the trailer for it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's PC only though. I needed a PC.
I feel like there's a theme everything at this point.
There's
like
a roller coaster
theme
theme.
human.
There's a Marco Polo theme.
Yeah.
There's a
Business
skin theme.
Isn't there like a theme ant or something?
There's
Sim ant?
I don't know.
Well,
swear
Sim Ant was a thing,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they went nuts with the whole
but like, well, that was like Maxis's legacy.
right.
Was it Maxis? Aren't they the ones that did? No, I'm thinking somebody else. I was thinking ZeniMax.
SimCity, right?
Yeah.
Maxis started the sim genre with SimCity,
And then went from there.
and it became like Sim Airport, Sim Earth.
Sim Toilet.
Yeah,
Sim Moon.
well, Sim Toilet is Sims.
Yeah.
Like I love Sims, but you have the toilet.
I remember when people tried to. Well, you still can, I think, but I've not played Sims in a long time. Where people would find the code to make it so you had the blur go away, and then there's nothing there because they didn't.
Those are mods these days and not codes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, gets gold.
Detail number 5. Tom's excited about this one. The Police 2
This
has
is
been
the
announced.
Police 2.
This is the Police 2 has been announced. Welcome to Sharpwood, a remote border town in the north.
Play this.
It's a rough, cold place.
I watched one of my mods play it. I was like, I really want that.
It's an interesting game.
Yeah. It's a rough, cold place where inhabitants know their neighbors by name and faithfully keep their traditions, no matter how barbaric these traditions might be. Smugglers, gangs, and screaming populace have made their town their home. Despair grows like a cancer, hand in hand with violence. It's a hell of a job for the new sheriff, Lily Reed, voiced by Sarah Hamilton of the celebrated adventure saga, The Longest Journey. Never heard of that game. You ever heard of that game?
The Longest Journey?
Yeah, The Longest Journey doesn't ring a
I
bell.
feel like I should have done, but I have not.
Yeah. She has to maintain order and peace, even though her subordinates are uncouth men who aren't used to receiving
word of the
commands.
day.
I
Uncouth
remember
men who aren't used to receiving
being asked if it's
commands from
couth to
women.
sit at some table.
Couth.
Couth.
Yeah.
I've only ever heard uncouth. I've never
right.
heard couth.
Like, is it? Well, he said is.
I would have mistook
long
them
gone
for
now,
cool.
but it was
Yeah.
definitely.
Is it cool to sit at this table? Is it couth? Like they just got like a lisp or something and it just didn't come out right?
Well, he didn't have all of his teeth. So.
Well, there you go.
There you go. But everything changes when a mysterious stranger calls himself
Sorry.
Warren Nash appears in Sharpwood. And no one knows what he'll bring to town, salvation or perdition. That's another big word. Or not big word, but it's another word that they liked. Just like the first game, This is the Police 2 is a mixture of adventure and management games, and this time it enjoys further unexpected mechanics that will strengthen both strategic and tactical parts of the game. It won't be enough just managing the equipment of your policemen and keeping in mind their individual skills. Every challenge requires a player direct participation, and the outcomes will depend on every decision you make. Now your subordinates aren't just some resource. They are living people with their own strengths, weaknesses, fears, and prejudices, and you'll have to reckon with all these things in order to
treat
survive.
them with respect.
This is Police 2 will
Depends
be
on what
released
their
later this
prejudices
year on PC, Mac, PS4, or PlayStation Entertainment System, Switch, and across the Xbox One family, including the Xbox One X. No price, no nothing. So you're
Well,
excited
they
about
only
this.
just announced it
Yeah.
this morning, but
Yeah.
I
And literally, I
imagine
woke
it's like
up-
$20.
What you? So I had, I'm gonna guess 20, 25.
20
maybe.
was the first one.
I woke up this morning. I had the show all done, and then fucking press release after press release because it's Tuesday. Just exploding. I was like,
Yeah,
oh my god.
I think
This is why you wake up earlier.
this is
I did. I woke up early enough to get it done. Normally, I don't get it done. I'm like, it doesn't matter.
do it next week.
Yeah.
This is the police was a lot of fun, but it was hard. Like because the management side of things on that game was kind of nuts.
Yes,
Tom doesn't manage.
it drove my mod crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, awesome, it's a challenge for me then.
It's definitely a challenge. Yeah. I mean, because like even things like you get to decide like. So a cop might come up to you and say, "Hey, it's my kid's birthday. I need tomorrow off," and then it's up to you to like. If you
suddenly
let them go,
get them.
yeah, then there might be some other shit that goes on tomorrow, and then suddenly, like, you're
Now you
without
gotta
one of your
riot.
guys.
So Tom's an asshole and doesn't give anybody the day off.
No, I give him the day off,
Okay.
but I've suffered
Kinda
for
like
it, so
managers that I know.
you won't get it off again. But yeah, it was fun. It was just really hard, and like the way they did the narrative, it was kind of like this, like the neo noir cop stuff. Like
Yes.
it was like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, it was cool. I liked it. So if they've improved it with the fact that now you can actually take on the situations, because before it was just like, hey, this thing
Hope for the
happened,
best.
2 of your cops died, deal with it. But now you actually get to be a part of that, so you can hopefully.
You get to kill the cops now.
Well, no, you would be the cops.
You just- right.
But you
Yeah,
might.
but you
might
can
survive
fail.
the outcome.
You could fail.
more. Yeah, you could definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
you could definitely fail.
Other news. Last one for the new announcements, because fucking new announcements this week. Detail number 6. Insurgency, Sandstorm, teaser trailer, and console announcements came out today. Because this was announced, I think, at E3 last year.
Insurgency.
Not on stage, but like one of those ones that came out after the event happened, or during the event.
after like the big stuff.
Like not the
they
presentation,
just,
but
slip
like
something
yeah,
out.
yeah. Which is my favorite part of the show, because those are the ones
Right,
that
it's
surprise
the one
you.
that yeah.
You're like, I know Call of Duty is going to be there. I know Assassin's Creed. I know Just Dance is going to be fucking there with the dance number. Like
Right,
these
right,
things
absolutely.
You know.
Every year.
It's the small things. I'm like, oh, what's
Stop
coming?
it, Ubi.
Taking the original Insurgency formula and evolving it, the million-selling FPS comes enhanced and expanded. Insurgency Sandstorm is built in Unreal Engine 4 with updated graphics and takes the series into a new era. Coming to PC and for the first time PS4 and Xbox One, Insurgency Sandstorm brings extended gameplay possibilities, improved immersion, as well as new co-op and versus objective-based game modes, all while retaining the lethal tactical action that made Insurgency the worldwide phenomenon it is today. Today's brand new teaser trailer follows a wounded fighter as he stumbles through an assault while the images of combat flash through his head. It's actually really cool looking. It's like COD. Like you would love it. I assume immediately thought of you.
I know
when saw
nothing
it.
of this game, so.
Well, here you go. You want to hear about the game?
Sure.
Please.
Fight across the modern battlefield utilizing gameplay mechanics that blur the lines between reality and shooter. Split-second decisions will mean life or death for you and your team. Each weapon has a unique ballistic calculations. I feel like they're just telling us. I guess it's marketing stuff. That they can take into account, like bullet drop and penetration power.
Well, that's interesting.
Choose to drop your magazine for faster reloads in dangerous situations, carefully open doors to keep quiet, or bash down with your shoulder charge, and much, much more.
This is first person?
Participate in large-scale battles in up to 16 versus 16 skirmishes with artillery barrages, helicopter gunships, repurposed commercial drones, airstrikes, and drivable land transport vehicles. Battle across expansive maps with interiors to breach and high-value objectives to control with your team. Each map size and play areas are adjusted specifically for each game mode and can also be played in co-op against bots. Like its predecessor, Insurgency Sandstorm rewards teamwork and objective play over personal success. Players will also finally see the long-awaited features such as character customization, ranked matchmaking, and many, many more. Insurgency Sandstorm is coming out later this year on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Stay tuned for more information. I think it's first person, but there was gameplay in the trailer, so it looked like first person.
So what I'm worried about here is that they're
It's all
making it
online?
sound to me like a Rainbow Six type game, right? Where you have to do like breaching and things like that. Like there's a certain level of technical.
Kind of, yeah.
Like yeah.
But then like when they're talking about like bullet penetration and drop and stuff, or
So you haven't seen the trailer yet.
No.
So the trailer to me looks like a combination of like Modern Warfare 1 and 2-esque. I don't want to say it's probably going to be as good as that, with a mixture of Rainbow Six Siege in it. So there's areas where you're outside in it was, I'm going to call it a town because I don't know what else to call it, just an open area with a bunch of buildings where you're running outside, taking cover, that kind of thing. But then there's other scenes where you're inside going through doors quietly, sneaking through to get to the target. So it sounds like you're outside and then you're going to make it into this destination that you're going to then do the tactical side through.
So it is almost like Wildlands type thing, but in first person.
Kind of know.
You know what I mean? Like there's an
Kind
objective person that you have to take out, and then you have to like plan your route and then go down and
That's
kind of
kind
like
of what it sounds like.
execute it.
Yeah,
That's
exactly,
what that's kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds great, but I mean, It's interesting that they mentioned immersion being improved. I was trying to think, like, how do you improve immersion? But I guess with things like penetration and dropping your... But then, like, that as well.
Having gravity.
Do you drop your magazine or reload it? Like, how do you make that decision on the fly quickly?
Probably hold versus tap.
Well, that would be, yeah. All right, I'll show
So you tap X or tap square, you hold.
You drop it with a tap and you reload with a hold.
Yeah.
Because reloading takes
longer. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's weird. But, yeah, I mean, it sounds decent. I mean, especially now that it's finally coming out to PS4, because I've not really, like I said, had a decent look at this. I'll definitely be checking the trailer out as I'm doing the editing for the show and kind of see if it's something that I'd like to pick up. But it sounds cool.
Yeah.
I assume it's not hitting Switch.
No. Yeah. There's no way it could run on Switch.
Too in depth. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And detail number 7. What would Indie Please That Details be without a PUBG article here?
Throw PUBG in there.
PUBG. Rumor suggests...
I played that twice.
We played quite a bit. We have it on Xbox.
I'm like
rumor suggests Microsoft has considered acquiring EA, Valve, and PUBG Corp. A rumor currently doing the round suggests that Microsoft has considered acquiring EA, Valve, and PUBG Corp. I love how the first sentence is always the title.
Like all of them? Or one of those?
They've tried to acquire them. That's all we know. So, quote, a reliable source close to Microsoft told Polygon News with the reports of internal shifts at Microsoft creating the necessary situation for an acquisition. Super data research analyst Joost van Durenen.
It's an awesome name.
It's a hell of a name.
Further
told Polygon that he expects more news about the acquisition soon. Quote, because of where we are in the life cycle of all these, I'm expecting to hear Microsoft announcement very shortly. This follows the promotion of Xbox head Phil Spencer to Microsoft's senior leadership team, which he deemed a great show of commitment to the gaming portfolio. A large acquisition of this nature, especially of the publishing titan EA, would be a substantial step in bolstering Microsoft's gaming software division. The rumored development would not mark the first time Microsoft has acquired another company, previously paying $2.5 billion for Microsoft developer Mojang in 2014.
That was the weird part.
In regards to PUBG Corp, this move would certainly capitalize on the success of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds following its exclusive release through the Xbox Game Preview program. A separate rumor circulated in October that the exclusivity deal could be extended further. So
I was just saying to Debs here that I think Microsoft makes weird decisions when it comes to acquisitions. And I think Mojang was the prime example of a weird decision because they paid so much for
But you realize how much money they made off that game.
But you know that game's, like, at that point was, like, already done to death. At that
point,
they
have the super duper mega awesome pack or whatever the hell they called it. People are buying that. People buy the shit out of Minecraft. Like,
but I don't think it's 2.4 million buy the shit out of
billion.
It. Whatever.
There's a big difference. There's a few more zeros there.
Yeah.
Could be. I mean, think about how many...
Think of all the licensing.
Yeah, licensing.
How many Minecraft T-shirts are walking around the mall right now?
Yeah,
how many platforms that thing's on?
But the thing
you
is
can
that
run that
you
on
buy
a fucking toaster.
The thing is, they bought the studio rather than just buying the game. Like,
well, they wanted the employees.
Yeah.
But then, like, if you
I like you're on my team.
Well,
what have they done?
That's like
what have they done since then?
Well, who knows?
They've continued Minecraft. Who knows what their next project is? But I have a feeling that that thing is still making them a shit ton of money.
They're probably like loaned on to Bethesda.
The game was made by Notch, who left. Yeah. So they bought the leftover developers for not the creative mind of the person who made Minecraft.
No, they bought the engine.
Yeah, but at that point they've got all the resources. Like, how many times have a game left? I mean, look at Uncharted. How many directors they've gone through, and the game's still great.
Right, but
that's the creative mind behind it.
Uncharted is a very great game.
But I think that with a game like Minecraft, like you have like that came out of
Minecraft is built by its community. I think it's the same thing with Rec Room. Rec Room is built by the community at this point.
It wasn't built by its game. It's built by.
But now the foundation's there.
It's kept alive by the community.
The foundation's there. I think Minecraft is one of those games. To me, Minecraft is World of Warcraft. It's never going to go away. It's always going to be in the mind of people. It's always going to have something coming out, whether it's skins or whatever.
World of Warcraft is still relevant.
Yeah.
15 years later.
I see more as WoW versus like.
But then so let's talk about the new acquisitions then. Okay, so I'm not saying they're bad per se, but
I don't understand why they want half of them though.
I would understand why EA would make sense, in my opinion, because
purely for IP.
Yeah, or studios. Buy it for studios. You got BioWare. That would be a great studio to have. You have Respawn. That's a great studio to have.
Maxis is still a part of it.
Yeah, it's like that's what you're getting. You don't IPs, yes, but I think a lot of
Valve I don't think would
No,
allow
they're-
themselves to be
but
bought by Microsoft.
But think about it this way. I mean, I agree. I think of those, PUBG is the most realistic one. But think about this: Microsoft is doing the cross-play thing between PC and
They're
Xbox.
trying to.
Yes,
It's not
if they own
entirely
if
as
they
successful.
own Steam.
It'd make it a lot easier.
Think about how easy that would be for them.
Sea of Thieves is terrible to try to get work.
Yeah, I
Like,
played on Xbox.
One, it's first person. I can't play it.
Yeah.
But two, hearing the horror stories and like watching people say, "I'm going to be live at this time," and like 5 hours later they get it working, and
Yep.
now they're live, and it's like, well, thanks. I had like an hour left of,
Yeah.
and then I got to go to work, and
Yeah.
then they called in sick.
But from a Microsoft perspective, I think that's why they'd want Valve was for the cross-play.
What was
thing.
the other one? It was
EA,
Valve.
PUBG, and Valve.
They don't
PUBG?
need Valve.
PUBG.
Oh, PUBG.
PUBG Corp.
PUBG would make sense.
It's the most logical one.
PUBG to me, it's like you already bought publishing rights to PUBG.
Yeah.
Right.
May as well snatch up the company. Like that makes more sense to me. That
Throw
makes
some
more
money
sense than
behind
Minecraft.
them and
Yeah.
make a better game.
Yeah, because
Like-
PUBG still has a lot of legs to go.
Yes.
Whereas Minecraft, I think, was at the end of its. I know that you think Minecraft's going to live forever, but in my eyes, like that
It's 'cause you're an
player
old
base
man.
will drop off.
No, I don't.
At least it will.
should have by now. What year did Minecraft come out?
I think it has. I'd love to see the numbers of consistent player base versus what it was 5 years ago. I'd love to see that if you can find it.
Minecraft was at least
That's not how you spell
2007.
Yeah, 2009 was its full release.
So it was probably beta.
Yeah,
2
it
years.
was beta.
Or I
as
remember
said,
how
beta
well
for
it did
a
in
long
beta.
time.
Like it was like $5 for like the longest time.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to tell me.
But I think
You let me
that
down.
I can't help but because I know that Minecraft is like it's a phenomenon, right? I get it, but at the same time, I feel like there's so much that has happened since this has been super relevant that people at this point have to be a little bit kind of grinded out with it because they haven't really added a whole lot to that game.
That's not true.
No,
They've
there's
added-
a lot of
they've added
mods,
skins,
It's
and
not-
skin. You know, there's like cosmetics.
Mods
but
are not
the-
done by the developers; though. They're done by other people.
But the
And
developers,
skins are
steal
cosmetic
those
only.
ideas and put it in their game.
Right,
Look
but-
what Fallout 4 did.
But cosmetic only stuff is
Hey,
like
they
that's
don't
not going to
necessarily
save your
steal them,
game.
they
No.
ask.
Yeah, well,
But like with PUBG, the difference is that with PUBG,
Hopefully they
because it's not procedurally generated and it's like just a gigantic ass map, you know, you make a second gigantic ass map and then you know you're instantly like
So,
drawing
here
more
you go.
people in. You can make a third or a fourth, or you can start changing with weapons and. Like,
But
there's
please
more there.
optimize big ass map.
so the statistic presents the number of active players from Minecraft worldwide as of February 2017, which is the earliest one I can find. As of last measured period, the popular sandbox video game developer by Swedish game developer Mojang has 55 million players, up from 40 million in 2016.
So it's more.
Imagine-
15 million more.
Imagine
So
if they
that's what I'm
all
saying. Like
paid
it's going the other
a
direction.
monthly fee.
I know, right? Well, that's what game as service. Could you imagine if they did like
$1.
the Elder Scrolls Online, where it's like
Per month.
Yeah.
10, 15 bucks gives you everything that's going to come
But
out.
please don't make it a monthly fee.
Yeah, please don't. Well, I'm cool if they give us a base game, like Elder Scrolls Online does the base game, and you can have that, you pay for that, and then the fee is like addition, like you can get all the DLC.
If they did
you
like
do that.
actual Microsoft supported servers instead of having
Yeah.
these mishmash of game server companies, I mean, it might make it worthwhile. 'Cause sometimes people like. I have a friend who can't get more than 12 people on the server because of all the stuff that's on the server.
yeah,
And then it causes problems when they're live on Twitch because they have to kick somebody off.
to get somebody on.
And then it bogs down everything. And
That
it's.
sucks.
Yep. So
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe
you're
it's
wrong,
just me.
Tom. Let's just say that you're wrong.
He's not
I have a
wrong.
different opinion.
Yeah, your opinion is wrong.
Yeah. But no,
What's
I
that
think
phrase? I substitute reality, and, or I reject your
Reality
reality
and substitute my own.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adam Savage.
Love that guy.
I don't know where you guys got that from.
That's
but I
from
like it.
Mythbusters.
So yeah, but I think Valve. There's no way in hell that game.
I don't think so. I think PUBG is the most likely
PUBG
to
is the
happen.
most
They
likely.
don't need
EA
Valve
is
to make it
medium.
cross-platform.
No,
They
but it
just
was,
need to release the.
But think about how easy it would be to if they already had the infrastructure made.
The only thing that I
That's my
Why don't
thought.
they just release an
potentially
API?
about the Valve acquisition is nothing to do with Steam.
Half-Life?
I actually think they would release Half-Life 3.
Oh,
that
finally?
would be amazing.
Half-Life 3
and
finally.
Counter-Strike for Xbox. I'd be down for that. I know they had it on the 360. I just never played it.
So, our details this week was Chubby Pixel revealed Suicide Squad coming to Nintendo Switch. Motion Twin announces Dead Cells coming to consoles this year. SEGA and Interior Night partner develop a new narrative-driven IP. This is the Police 2 was announced. Insurgency Sandstorm release or teaser trailer and console announcements. And rumors suggest Microsoft has considered acquiring EA,
That's it.
Valve, or PUBG Corp. Moving on, let's move on to our spotlight, and we're gonna let you spotlight 2 games that you
We
play
got lazy this
play
week.
constantly.
I was
Lazy.
like,
I was just
to play?
spotlighting Planet Coaster on Twitch's front page yesterday. So.
Yeah. So you play on Twitch a lot, and the 2 games you tend to play
Play on Twitch a lot.
You play on Twitch a lot.
Every day.
Every
for
day.
Lots of
like
hours.
a lot.
Well, Monday through Friday.
There you go.
Starting
You
at
have the
9 a.m.
weekends
Eastern.
There
I
you
do
go.
take the weekends off.
Good for you.
Better than me.
Well, sort of. I mean, I'm doing all the other stuff I didn't do.
Throughout the week.
Because I play video games.
The 2 games you play the most are City Skylines and Planet Coaster. So we want you to talk about them a little bit. Because for us, I played City Skylines. We've had Cities conversations before. I love City Skylines. I've got it on a Mac. Run the crap out of it. Planet Coaster, we were talking before. I can't play it because it's PC only. So
Dual boot your computer.
go. I've done that, and I hate doing
What do
the
you wanna
updates every
know?
time I log in. Just talk about a little bit about your experience with the game. Kind of what's the selling point of Planet Coaster?
If
Let's start with
someone
Planet
doesn't
Coaster.
know what Planet Coaster... Let's start with Planet Coaster. Rather
Well,
than
my
just
first
like a
question would
solo.
be, have you played Roller Coaster Tycoon at all,
Let's
ever?
assume no.
No.
Let's assume they've never played any of these
Yeah,
games.
let's assume that they have no
it's
thumbs.
a 7-year. It's a
Then
7.
why the hell are they
It's
here?
a 7-year-old kid.
They have no fingers or thumbs.
Yeah.
They just want to know about the game. And like,
it's
what, you know.
well, I will. One thing that I always tell people when they're like, "Well,
Your
what
elevator
is
speech.
this? What is this? I've got 8 hours a day. I don't need like 30 seconds."
Yeah.
It's very much a micro builder,
Okay.
and City Skylines is a macro builder.
Mm-hmm.
So Planet Coaster, you're building a theme park. City Skylines, you're building a metropolitan area or a large city or a cluster of towns. You're building more of a world, whereas you're building more detailed pieces on the one side. So it like engages 2 different parts of your like thought process.
Lots of from Planet Coaster ones. I see lots of people doing lots of detail. I mean, City does detail too, but the Planet Coaster detail is usually a lot more detailed.
What's funny is in City Skylines, I will detail it like I'm in Planet Coaster, and then in Planet Coaster, I'll be like trying to make it more like City Skylines.
Go bigger.
It's if you fancy the ability to build a building and like be an architect, Planet Coaster. And then not to mention like management or I really love roller coasters.
You're running a theme park.
Right, you're running it. They've been dinged on the management bit. Like,
Yeah.
and the company's about to release the Jurassic game title, like Jurassic World Park or something.
Ark Park, not Ark Park.
No,
That's
it's
not that. I know what you're
they
talking
actually have Jurassic.
Yeah.
They have Jurassic Park IP that they have, and it's Frontier Development if you want to look into them.
Yeah,
But
which would be cool. 'Cause
they
I played Jurassic Park back in the day, or the Zoo Tycoon back in the day. It became Jurassic Park with mods.
especially when you get like dinosaurs and
Yeah, I
then
made
like
it. And then you let
you're
let
never
them,
safe
then
no matter where
then
you go.
Then you break the wall and you let them go after the
Right, you're like,
patrons.
delete.
And you're like, bye. What's happening? Why is everybody so angry? I don't know. There's a T-Rex running around the park. It's for entertainment.
But yeah, I mean, so just yesterday I was on the front page of Twitch. I'm doing a collaborative project where there's a bunch of broadcasters on Twitch, and we're building the same theme park together.
How does that work?
So you share the file.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
I was like, because there's
back
they
to
don't,
Valve
they don't use
and Steam.
because they don't use servers. It's locally
Correct.
played, so you don't need an internet connection to play.
You don't need an internet connection to play.
Cool.
You do need to get to the workshop.
Yeah.
But you could play locally. So if I were to throw it on a laptop and be in
Space.
an airplane or in space, you have internet.
Depending on what's part of space.
You have internet.
The International
Satellite
Space Station.
internet, I guess?
Yeah. Come on, Tom. Learn your space technology.
I'm sorry.
How the hell do you think we get data back?
I don't know. I just assumed the Mars
But
rover just
the idea, like,
Throw it
so Valve, Steam, right? There's no mods for Planet Coaster, but you could share your stuff with the community.
Your creations.
Right. So if I wanted to make like a temple bathroom, which I made yesterday on the front page of Twitch, I don't know why I picked that, but I did it.
What
Park
is a
needed
temple
it.
bathroom?
It basically looks like a pyramid with a saw that goes between you and the bathroom.
Okay.
Thank Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Okay.
It literally
Theme
scares
song.
the shit out of
It's
people.
called a theme park for a reason.
Yeah. No, I'm down.
I learned there's a difference between amusement park and theme park, by the way.
Is there?
Yeah,
What's the difference?
A theme park has a theme around it. Amusement park is usually just a collection of rides that does not have a cohesive
For your
idea.
amusement.
Yes.
Have you ever been to Holiday World?
No.
That would be a theme park. Holiday World is in Indiana.
Yes. In fact, I built Holiday World for the holidays, but
Did
not
you?
that Holiday World. I built another one.
Their own.
Yeah, it's
Right, with
because it's in Santa Claus, Indiana, which is a town.
Yeah.
which is down
also-
the street from
There's also Bible Land or whatever.
Metropolis, Indiana, or is that Metropolis, Illinois?
Yep.
Illinois
Illinois.
is Metropolis, but I think there might be one in Indiana as well.
'Cause
But
Superman's
Illinois
there.
is the one that is like the Superman one.
Yeah.
But I went there and they have like a campsite that has all the roads are like cold after like holiday stuff, so you have like Rudolph Road or whatever, and
Candy Cane Lane,
and they have like a buffet that sells like Christmas food.
Do you know the gingerbread man?
24/7.
He lives on Drury Lane.
But they have like a giant Santa statue.
No.
They sell like it's so weird. But Holiday Land was a because it was not just like Christmas stuff. It was like Halloween and 4th of July.
Right,
and,
holidays.
Yeah.
So
It's interesting.
I have a question for you when it comes to both cities and Planet. What drew you to them? Why are you a sim building fanatic?
Because you were a World of Warcraft.
Yeah,
now
you played
for
WoW
a
for a
while,
long
right?
time.
Well, that's how I met my husband, but don't label me that.
She's one of those people.
So like, okay, so let's just cut like.
Let's do it. Let's go history of EZILII.
What drew me there?
Yeah.
I held off on World of Warcraft for an entire year. First of all,
I held off for like 25 years.
and
or
then
whatever they're on.
yeah, well, good on you. And
Good for 2 days.
I was relocating from where we are now to another location in the States, and World of Warcraft was an interactive way to stay in touch with your friends.
Sure.
So I jumped on board, and then 14 years later, I'm not playing it anymore, but I met my husband. We're married, obviously, and
Did
I
you get
stopped
married
playing.
in game?
No,
I'm glad.
but we
I'm
have
thinking
a
about
we have a photo. We have a photo
Oh,
of
God.
20 people that were at our wedding reception. All played World of Warcraft. We could have done 2 10-player raids that day if we had enough computers. We could have done it. Right. Well, yeah. So, but
Leroy Jenkins.
I've always played SimCity.
Yeah.
Like
the
it's
original?
always been there. I talked to my parents into buying SimCity because it would teach me financial responsibility.
That's what I said, and it didn't work. Were you a
'cause
Tycoon
you-
fan as well?
You would destroy.
No,
your
because it
system.
wasn't available on the NES when I had it.
Ah, that makes sense. Because I was a Tycoon kid growing up. So Roller Coaster Tycoon, Mood Tycoon, Mall Tycoon, Zoo Tycoon.
Between like 96 and 2002, I worked.
See,
I didn't
between
have
96 and
much.
2002, I was in middle school.
There was very little gaming.
Elementary school?
It was high school work.
You became an adult, is what you're saying.
Yeah, now I'm still an adult, but not really an adult because my job is not anything like what my job was.
Yeah. You're a fun adult now. Let's call it that.
Adult.
The fun adult.
I'm always asking for an adult.
Somebody the other day did that.
I don't find any.
And me and somebody were like, yeah, you're in trouble.
Isn't there like a popular thing? It's like I need an adult. No, not an adult like me, like a more adultier adult. You know, like,
Right, like an adult.
adult.
Right, like an adult.
Yes.
Like one that's actually an adult.
Yeah.
But so I got into it. I played SimCity 4 because that came out like 2000. It was always
You
like
didn't play SimCity 2000 or was it
I've played all the
SimCity
SimCities.
2000?
So everything from the first. All the
I've
way
never
up
played
to
the first. I tried to play the
2013.
first one and I was confused as hell because it looked so janky compared to what I was used to.
So I have played them, but like that is the type of game you could just like put down. And like months later come back and be like, oh, I remember I built that. Let me add to this. And like, okay, close it.
So you started playing it because of your lack of time to play video games, and you figured that it was like the type of game that you could leave and come back to and kind of pick it up easier.
Right. Long story short, City Skylines came on the scene right when my mother was diagnosed with cancer. So it was a game I could hit pause,
And go do.
what I need to do,
Yeah.
or accidentally leave it running when I went to work.
What happened when you came back? Do you have
It was
garbage
paused.
issues? Oh, okay, it was paused. I thought you meant like you kept it going. I was like, well, your town is now full of
It
garbage.
was paused. So of my almost 4,000 hours of City Skylines, there's probably maybe 500 hours where it was accidentally
Just
left
sitting there.
open because it failed to quit because you mod it and it has a problem.
What's your favorite mod in City Skylines? Because I have quite a few. Let's start with favorite like utility mods, so like a traffic manager, and then let's go to one that's like aesthetic mod. If you have one.
Well, so if you go to my channel and type in mod list, you get my list
of everything you got on there.
If somebody doesn't have like the computing power to do a lot of mods, I would use Move It Mod, because with Move It Mod, you could do just about anything. But then you really kind of need Road Anarchy, so you can do anything you want.
Road Anarchy is my favorite one.
And then Move It Mod to like tweak it in place. So like that slope that does this in the game normally, you could make it do more like that.
Road Anarchy is probably my favorite utility mod because you can literally do anything. And Traffic was it Traffic Plus Plus?
Traffic Manager
Traffic
President
Manager.
Edition
Yeah,
is the current running mod, but Traffic Plus Plus was
What is
one.
your hardware setup for this game?
For this game, so it's an i5. It's a Skylake i5, 16 gigs of RAM. There's a 970 NVIDIA card in it at the moment, because when we bought that computer, my husband wanted the 1070. You gotta compromise, even though Steve Jobs says don't compromise. I compromised.
Dude, graphics cards right now are expensive anyway. Well,
but a 970 is a great card.
Yes. Let's be honest. I want a Titan, but that thing's like $12,000 or $1,200.
Because I feel like with a game like City Skylines or Planet Coaster,
both are hugely CPU intensive.
That's what I was going to say, because there's a lot of like
moving bits,
things going on right at one time, and I feel like with the amount of like pixels per inch and kind of the amount of moving parts, that you'd need something that would be able to handle that engine well. And I don't know like what the perfect setup would be for that, but it sounds like you have a reasonable setup. I mean,
it's
i5,
reasonable.
16,
I mean, I'm not like complaining. It's not like chugging.
In cities, when have you hit the point where you chug? And what's your population usually?
Very, very easily.
What's your population usually? Mine's like 45,000. It's just like nope. I was like, thanks.
No, it'll start chugging at about 100 and so thousand. But I don't build so. I used to build large cities.
That's my problem. I just make one massive city that is continually connected.
Well, when I started streaming, I couldn't build large cities and stream.
Yeah. Because you're using resources.
There's even more resources, yeah.
Right.
Tom knows about this.
Yeah, I learned the hard way.
It's changed how I played the game, but for the better, because I could take more time and build aesthetic as opposed to build game. Like, it's a great building game, but you can also make some really fine pieces of art with it, which is why I do it, because it's how my art has evolved. So instead of paper and ink for drawing and printmaking, or canvas, brush, and paint,
you actually use it
digital.
as an artistic outlet.
Yes, very much.
That's interesting.
And then I do flyover videos with the game that are like, whoa.
So did you ever have ambitions of being an architect or anything when you were younger?
No, you need math.
Yeah.
But do you not need math in the game?
No, it does math for you.
Oh,
you don't have to worry about load
I don't have
structures.
to worry about a load structure. Like,
remember that?
I could tell you what would work. Like, okay, so oftentimes when I'm playing Planet Coaster, people always ask me, am I an architect? No, I just know what buildings look like.
Yeah.
Like, I know that you need a...
I've seen a building.
You need a floor, walls.
Beam? Yeah. Well, no, you need, like, structure. There's structure. There's always structure to the building. There's always some sort of skeletal structure that holds the building together, and you got to hold the weight and all that stuff.
You missed my podcast. It was like 3 or 4 weeks ago now, where I talked about engineering and how much I love engineering, which is why I love those kind of games, because that's what it is. Have you ever played 7 Days to Die?
No, I try to avoid it.
So that game has like structural physics built in. So if you build too high, too narrow,
it'll fall.
It'll literally fall apart. And I've done that a few too many times. But it's really cool, that kind of stuff, because that to me is like, oh, but cities or Planet Coaster takes that out because it all supports itself, but you know what it should look like. Like, there's no support load in the game, right?
Right.
But you understand what would happen.
Gravity for a building, but there's physics for a roller coaster.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's like two different.
And you can have a roller coaster that like kills people.
Well, they don't have death in the game.
Yeah. Tom.
I'm not playing that game.
But you could certainly almost decapitate them, like I do on occasion, where my ceiling is a little bit too low.
Do you know what?
And if they don't duck,
it's
just
fine.
get a haircut.
Yeah.
Well, if you have hair. But do you know? I have played one because I'm old enough like yourself to remember. Is it what was it?
Megalodon?
No, it was like Megalomaniacs. It was one of the first God games ever. It was Mega something. I can't remember what it was, but it was pre SimCity, and it was like way back
I don't remember it.
I'll have to look it up. I'll look it up before we do our level 2 podcast. But I did play Theme Park on the Genesis when it came out. And I learned a valuable lesson in that game, which was that if you put more salt in your fries, people will buy more drinks.
Yes,
which
so
blew my
in
mind.
Planet Coaster, you could add toppings.
Megalomania?
And
the
that's
Amiga
it.
game?
And so your vendors, you could choose like extras, and it will give you a tooltip what it will make the attendees
But
to
isn't
your
that
park
fascinating?
do.
Like, that's the stuff that interests me. Is like, okay,
Well, that's the management part
This is
to
like,
it.
yeah, but it's like actual like, that's realism on a whole other scale because that made me think. Do actual theme parks do this?
Yes.
And I think yes, of course they do. Like that's why it's in
They have
the game.
research groups.
Yeah.
Incredible. So that's the
Gotta
stuff
make
that
their
really
money.
fascinates me by these games is the level of minutia that goes into some of that thought process. But the actual building part of it, I've always sucked at crafting and building. You love
But
it.
see,
I
that's
love
what
it.
the workshop's for. So when people say
Just
I'm not
plug it
that
down.
creative to build a theme park, I open up the workshop and here you go.
See, I
Find your
love-
piece that you want, and it's probably in
I'm
the
a
workshop.
I'm a terrain fan. Like I'm somebody who builds things. Like I built an underground theme park at one point because I could. Like I love using the terrain instead of like building buildings. I use the terrain to build things around. So like I'll have the one I did is I did a volcano themed one. So in the middle I had a tower that went up through the top of the volcano so you can see the whole park in the middle. And I built it. I built the ride there, and then I just terrained around it and made a volcano.
I built the TARDIS underground in Planet Coaster
There you
Nice.
go. I can't do that.
because it's
just
larger
hanging
on the inside.
Yeah.
You walk through the door, boop.
And you're down in there. There you go.
Do you have you played VR?
No,
Really?
Yeah.
no.
All right, that might have to happen before you go.
Yeah.
But but I was thinking about, we were talking about this the other day about like what types of VR games like make a lot of sense, but maybe haven't come to fruition yet. And I was thinking about poker would be like an easy.
Where you're like putting the
Yeah, right. Just
it's
like
boom.
at a table, look at your cards. Like simple game to implement into VR. He was saying that he would like more God games, more in terms of like
Like
you
where
know,
you build something, where
And then
you
you can
place
walk through
something
it.
down.
because you actually
Well,
get
yeah.
to physically move those parts around and like put them together.
Right, like
and
with your
tweak
with your
them.
dongles, you
Yeah.
can,
And then
or-
then you switch to first person perspective, and you're doing it in first person.
So if they were to do that, would that be something that would interest you, do you think? Or do you think you would prefer
Possibly.
the laid... Because you're a very laid-back streamer, right?
Yeah,
have,
I'm not,
the
like-
chill music going. And
Yeah,
you're, like,
for the
you
most
know,
part.
And you're just kind of like...
You don't yell like I do.
So
we
I
have
think, like...
well, I have like my goal is to create an environment that anybody's welcome and not like.
So you don't want to be, like, crazy in your face
Jacksepticeye style.
lady.
Well, I'll occasionally play like some crazy in your face game and be like,
Just, like, real casual about
Yeah.
it, you know?
Dark Souls
So
3.
you're playing Doom.
The other
Like Dark
day,
Souls 3?
Dark Souls.
How'd that go? Bad, I imagine.
No.
It goes bad for me. I can't do shit in any of those games. Like, I'm terrible.
I mean, I'm rusty. It's not a game that. So like, I play games for like my job. So what do you do when you
I'm so
are
jealous.
done
Yeah.
with your job for the day? Do you play more games? No.
No.
Yeah, just because we talked about this pre-podcast, and Keegan didn't hear this story, so let's talk about the brace on your wrist right now.
Well, let's do that in
Explain.
the level 2 podcast.
You want to wait for
Yeah.
that? All right, tune
We
in
gotta-
Friday.
We got to get to
Tune
our
in for the
questions.
other
Tune
day.
in
Yeah,
Friday,
tune in Friday.
to find out why there's a brace on EZILII's wrist.
Well, let's move into our question.
Okay.
So we got to get to that.
Question.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Do you think developers leaving big studios to make independent game studios helps or hurts up-and-coming developers?
So this is based off of your SEGA.
Define up and coming?
So to me, an up-and-coming would be somebody who has never... It's a person who's never worked on a AAA game in their life.
So like
starting
Campo
from scratch.
Santo.
Yeah.
Define AAA.
Well, AAA to me is anything that... Yeah. This is where we get in the issue.
Well, no, I want to know
Yeah.
what the definition.
So
is.
the way we had a discussion of what is AAA and what's indie, but the way I look at it is, to me, it's a lot of it's team size and a lot of it's injection of money. So you can have a small team size with a big injection of money from like PUBG as an example. PUBG started off as a small team. Microsoft comes in and throws money at it. They now have the Microsoft backing. So to my opinion, they're not necessarily indie in the sense of the publishing, but they are an indie developer. But who knows how much resources they have from Microsoft versus somebody like
The one guy that produces
Axiom Verge.
Well, there's Coffee Shop Simulator. Beans, the Coffee Shop Simulator, is developed by one guy.
Yep. Axiom Verge was done by one guy.
Stardew Valley.
But
I think a lot of it though depends on like he was saying, like it depends on the amount of developers that are in your studio, right? Because if you have like a 3-man team making a game, that I think that almost entirely makes it indie just off the bat. But if you have like 50 people working on these assets and 50 people working on these assets at another studio in California, right? Well, this is not independent,
right?
But if you so like for AAA, when you have a team that is maybe multiple teams all working on a different part of the game, and it's published by a large publishing house, and it has an injection of money from the get-go or an established series before it, and you know it's getting released at full price regardless. That's kind of AAA to me, right? But when you have indie, like it's almost always not full price. It's almost always a smaller team, like 15 and under, 10 and under, and it's usually one place that they're making this game. That's kind of the aesthetic that I give it. And I know that it varies and there's gray area and stuff like that, but like as a flatline question, that's I think where we're at.
Yeah. So if I were to be a developer working on a game and I leave a big studio to go somewhere else
to start your own studio.
Does it hurt other people?
Like the SEGA thing that we talked about earlier
Sega thing.
today.
So do you think they have, the way I look at it, do you think that hurts people who are not yet known? Because
no.
The way I look at it is I think those guys have a head start because they can put from BioWare, from Quantic Dream, like they have, people know that name.
Oh, where they like use what they used to do
to sell the new thing, even though it may not be the same thing.
I would still be a little leery. Like, why are you no longer with them?
Yeah,
sure,
that's fair.
It could work as a negative.
Like, why?
Because
okay, so if you left to be your own, why are you still piggybacking on what
you did before? From the
like, show me what you want to do in the future, and I'm going to be like, yay or nay.
Sometimes, though, I wonder whether it's them doing that or whether it's the press doing
the marketing.
Because here's the thing: like when you're marketing yourself as a Twitch streamer, you're going to probably bring up, like if you are trying to get let's say you're trying to get a panel or partnered, right? You're probably going to say, I was featured 5 times on the Twitch front page, because that's an achievement that you had in your life that makes you stand out.
So that would be an achievement. But if you're marketing your new game saying from the developers of this,
but isn't that an achievement?
Without being the developer of that anymore?
But they still did that at one point. I also think they can say, like, I was a part of BioShock or whatever, right? And that's still on your resume, per se, as a thing.
Are they an executive of BioShock?
Well, that's where... Yeah, that's like, what did they do? BioShock? That's the thing, is what did they do on it? That gets into the nitty-gritty of it, too. Like, for me, with the I did this, if the game is completely different than what you did before, to me, it doesn't matter.
Because well, right. If you did a first-person shooter and now you're doing a world 2D builder,
it doesn't matter.
That's I'm kind of in the path of all it says to me is that you paid your dues, and that if you're deciding, I mean, that's the thing, is are they deciding or are they being forced to be an indie studio? And then if they're deciding to produce an indie game, I think it's okay to kind of.
Because the reason
lean on that.
The reason I think they do it is grab headlines. I mean, that's a prime factor, and it is like when you see the name BioShock, when you see the name Quantic Dream, you're like, oh, I know that, and it's recognition. So maybe I should look into this. Is it the
developers saying that, or is it the press saying that? Is the
well, usually a developer won't be ready to have any sort of PR
until later.
Because if you're like
they can announce the game, but 5 years later,
dual shockers, right? Yeah. If you're one of these guys though, that's like you're looking at this new studio just got confirmed and they're making a new IP. Who's a part of the studio? Okay, so they're gonna look at the members of the studio and then they're gonna go, what did this guy do? What did this guy do? Because they want to know what kind of thoroughbred they are. Where did they come from to make it? Whereas
sell me the game, don't sell me the resume. Well, I could look them up on LinkedIn. This is the press,
though. This is not the developers,
right?
I'm saying like that's where the line blurs, because it's like this here we see SEGA and Interior Night partner,
right? They're lumping stuff together,
right? But the developers might just be like, we don't want to talk about that. We're making this new studio.
It's like Naughty Dog. So Naughty Dog in Santa Monica.
This is straight from their website. Oh, narrative games coming soon. So the blurb, when you search them on Google, Interior Night is an independent game studio of Quantic Dream and Sony veterans based in London.
See that? That's
that sounds better than I made this and you should just look at my game.
Yeah.
So,
but
telling me that they're industry veterans. Okay, so that phrase is great. They're industry veterans. They've done work. check out their new work.
I also,
but that's coming straight from them, though. I'd still have an issue with it of them saying, "Hey, this is what we've done."
but also like we were saying though, like that's why wouldn't you
It's a sick
tout your
picture.
previous successes
Yeah.
as a way to garner
that's-
further success?
Do it on the website, not on your packaging.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That I agree with. But I'm just like, so you have like the guy that made Axiom Verge. He's got nothing to lean on, right? He made that entire game by himself. He did the music by himself. He did the everything by himself, 100%. And that almost is a feat in itself that he can tout in the same way that they can tout that they were developers on Heavy Rain or whatever. He could be like, I made this game 100% by myself, or this is a small 2-man studio or 3-man studio. When you look at Super Meat Boy, that's what 2-3 guys that made that game. They can almost use the fact that it's only 2 people that have never made a game before in a kind of a way to their advantage,
and it's bigger because
in
they
a
did
different
everything.
way, right?
Because they did everything.
So I think there's pluses on both sides that you can use to your advantage.
I don't think it hurts up and coming.
Yeah.
If you want to
The
describe
smaller ones.
a smaller, like
I mean,
I know a lot of indie devs.
The
in
proof is in the
our
pudding
area.
too, right?
Let's be honest. If you
Release
have
the game.
If you have a
Yeah.
good game, it'll catch on.
Right.
If you don't, if you have a good game and a decent marketing program, because that's where I think the marketing is the bigger guys have an advantage because they might understand the
Well,
cycle of it.
they could get a hold of like mainstream media
Yeah.
and say, hey,
then call-
on your entertainment
Go to
you
IGN.
thing, can you talk
Yeah.
about our game for us
versus the small people
for
that's like, we don't know how to market ourselves.
$100 of advertising?
Yeah.
I think it's different in our industry than it is in the game industry. I think that it, like with Kind of Funny, for example, Kind of Funny when they came out could say we were all ex-IGN guys, and instantly there's recognition of them being industry veterans, and they garner a certain amount of attention based off of that alone. Whereas me and you, who have just been in the basement for 3 years, have been like, we don't.
But you're
get
still
that,
an
so-
industry veteran.
Well,
But 3 years by now,
yeah, but we don't have the name recognition. That's the problem.
that comes with time.
Well,
You gotta pay your dues.
so it's
We have the name recognition with Indie PopCon. Probably go to Indie PopCon again this year. I had a cool email with them.
But I think it's Actually, interesting
going
the
to
parallels
this year.
between being a content creator and being a content creator, quite literally, like
Yeah.
developing the content. But I think there are interesting parallels there. But I don't know. I don't think it hurts them necessarily because ultimately I think that the proof is in the pudding. Like I said, like if you make a good game, it doesn't matter. Like, but also there's almost more pressure on yourself if you are putting
coming
the hype
from
up
one.
there that
Yeah.
you're saying I was at Sega, I was at Quantic, and then your game sucks. Then you're not going to get that back.
You've got a higher level expectation than you had before.
Yeah, exactly.
I would
mean-
advise them to look into the law of attraction and start learning those processes.
What? Tell us a few, because I don't know what that is.
I'm gonna attract you, Tom.
The laws of attraction.
The law of attraction.
Oh, it's not like the movie.
No, it's just it's just
seen
a
a
way
movie.
of
Is that
a
a
way
law of
of a
attraction?
way of just sending out like
Yeah. How do you stand above the rest?
vibes of
Throwing your
to the
peacock
internet
feathers out.
or to the
You can throw your
universe,
peacock-
right? The universe.
Keep in mind in my pants.
The clip when I was partnered on Twitch live on the air is titled something like "The universe always gives you what you need." Because I literally was just talking about it, and here's Twitch in my chat gang, "Hey, you're partnered," and I'm like,
Sweet.
"Sweet, let's go."
Let's do this.
It's about my reaction.
That's like. Well,
Although in truthfulness, my reaction, their raid in my channel was spoiled by the email that came
Before?
because my phone was up face up, and I'm like,
Oh.
what the actual fuck?
That's like.
And I just had a conversation with my husband about some other things like that were happening at the office. Is like, so I've been looking at my phone, waiting for him to text, and I get the bloop.
You're like, oh.
You're a Twitch partner now.
Wow.
Well, that's like us when we found out the new YouTube stuff that's gone on when it comes to monetization.
Policy
Like,
stuff.
yeah, we hit that mark, and it's cool because it kind of gives us. It gives
gives
us a
you
feeling that
a-
we belong. Like, we're not.
You've
just
been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
You're
It's like,
eventually
okay.
gonna get to that mark.
Yeah. So it's just like, okay, because I have a lot of friends who haven't hit it because they're newer or something else has happened. But it's just like one of those things where it's like, holy shit. Like, because Tom knows I don't look at stats like I used to. I used to fucking analyze them like nobody's business. But now I look at them and like, okay, what are trends? What are these kind of things? And then for fun, I was like, okay, we have to have 4,000 watch hours. What did we have last year? Oh, we had 5,000. Cool. That's
Done.
good. And that gives us,
Right?
and that gives us a goal then. Next year we'll have 6,000, 7,000 hopefully.
I followed this guy on Instagram, and I guess you follow him, but I just like look at his
You
stuff.
just buy on my Instagram.
Tipster.
Yeah.
So Tipster has been doing YouTube and Twitch, I think, for 11 years. And he's just now getting this kind of awesome traction where he's one of those guys that like really does love numbers. So much so that he bought a little counter clock thing that he has in his room that like every time he gets a subscriber it dings up like so he can see it all the time. Like that's a little bit narcissistic, but at the same time like that's his life. He loves that, so why not, you know? But he always gets shit on because he's not like a typical YouTube guy, right? He's not when I think of a typical YouTube guy, I think of someone more like Chris Henker or whatever, like, you know, like Michelle's husband or fiance, I don't know.
Wouldn't you be typical?
No, not at all.
No,
because I'm ugly, right? So the
Jacksepticeye, Markiplier.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying.
Markiplier's pretty looking.
Like,
you mean okay? So you're
attractive, and very
I just
well
had a debate with somebody about does gender and sex make the difference between success?
I think it can help or hinder.
I mean,
Attractiveness or how you present yourself can certainly help. But there's still a glass ceiling.
Yeah, we present ourselves as we don't fucking. This is what you get.
I think it's interesting.
We care
because this is a debate that we've had multiple times before in private.
Probably
but
for the
not
other podcasts.
So much on. Yeah, probably. Well, fuck it. We got a couple minutes. We're still kind of this question. So,
does it help or hinder indie studios?
Yeah,
I mean, does it?
But we were talking about.
It could if we get. If
we were talking
get
about
big
girl
enough.
streamers though, and like the fact that like this is probably one of the only.
This is a hot debate of like 2017 spilling into 2018, which started at the dawn of age.
And trust me, we're on the right side of history as far as all that's concerned. But I'm just like in general, I do feel like they get more traction from the get-go based upon the prepubescent yearnings of teenage boys that play video
people,
games.
Dress.
Yeah, probably, maybe, but they'll get banned real quick. Like especially on live content.
Girls will?
No, the
horny
yeah,
teenagers.
Because they say something is like ban.
Right. For you, but for other girl gamers, they may
feed off that.
garner
They
that
might
attention
feed
or
off
feed
that,
off
but
it.
they won't be successful
You don't
because they don't have money.
Okay.
That's true.
You can't give me money if you don't have any money. Not that I'm in it for money.
But
you
can't subscribe.
Yeah, getting subscribers though, and that generates ad revenue by proxy.
Well, on YouTube, on Twitch,
Yeah, not on
subscriber's
Twitch,
different.
but on YouTube.
Yeah, subscriber is different than subscriber.
Right,
on YouTube.
right. So like a YouTube, like you could obviously subscribe for free on YouTube because
Yeah.
that's the follow button.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Twitch. subscribers
sure.
are
So
$5.
people, you're going to get ad revenue and maybe replays of a video from people that are going
From
to
good old Timmy,
and
From
more
Timmy.
people that might watch because you're gonna put because a lot of girl gamers and a lot of guy gamers obviously as well, but like a lot of
Markiplier
gamers
uses a sex
in
appeal.
general put themselves front and center of the game, so it's not necessarily about their voice. It's them with the chroma
They're
key
on the
or whatever. They're
screen.
on the screen. They're looking, you know.
They're
good.
larger than the game.
Yep.
Yeah, they're in the
kind of-
corner somewhere, like, hi guys, and it's kind of that's what goes for guys and girls just the same. But I
Right,
think
because
that
there's
for
plenty of
you know
bare-chested-
attractive
Yep.
people.
Is that a
in
thing
general.
on YouTube that's
Probably.
against
I've
the
seen
law
it.
or
Well,
rules?
So YouTube is fine as long as it's not nudity. So if
Cut
it's
it
any,
above the
if it's
So
nipple.
any-
there's
you're good.
right. So that's
Well,
basically very similar.
Because I'm assuming if like for dudes, it's probably a double standard. Because if to my thing, that's like if you can wear it in a swimsuit, you're fine. If you can't do it in a swimsuit, then you're breaking the terms of service. I don't know exactly what they do, but that's my thought. Is like if it's swimsuit, okay. Like if you do it in public, you're fine. It's like for a dude, if you're
like the guy that's
bare-chested-
on the side of the pool that's like dancing or something. I mean, well, because like
I don't know.
song fight.
It's
Doing
just,
a
I mean,
helicopter.
and we'll probably get into this more on Friday because that's obviously a bigger debate. Because you're a part of like actual girl streamer groups and stuff, which is why I wanted to talk to you about it.
There's a girl streamers group that's on Twitch. It's a huge community, and then there's other groups that float around. And it's not that it's like guy streamers or terrible. You know, it's not anything like that. It's like more supportive. Like how do you handle very
Creeps.
specific things? Like
Because I mean, we've
don't get
all
creeps.
seen you
right on the front
stage.
page. I just get stuff, and that's why I have mods and. You know, and Twitch
Dude,
has auto mod.
Mods are awesome when shit hits the fan. It's wonderful.
So truth be told,
'Cause we had a couple
yesterday
that
I did not read Twitch chat as much as I normally do. Usually, of course, it's a spike. You know, we're at like 2,000 people. There's a lot of new people in the community, and people are saying, "Hey, hello," and there's crosstalk between people like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And I already know that from earlier in the day, so I'm like skipping it, and then I look for the new names, like, oh, you're new, how are you? So I didn't read all of Twitch chat, but I was told that I gave the illusion that I did yesterday.
That's good.
Which was good, that at least it looked like I was doing my job.
I think there's a certain level where the chat starts talking to each other.
Which
yes, and that's okay, and that's perfect, and I love it. And
I actually prefer that sometimes because you might be focused on something in the game that you're like, hold on, it's going to take, especially for us, we play a lot of action-based games, so I'm like, I got to concentrate. Like, we were playing Monster Hunter World. I gotta fight a beast.
Which is a great game.
Yeah, I gotta concentrate though, so don't die while we're doing this.
Because the gameplay gets poor. I did that exact thing on Twitch yesterday.
Right, because you start paying attention to the chat, and then you keep.
Because I was like looking at the chat, I was talking, and the more I talk and don't focus on what I'm doing, the suckier I am at a game like Call of Duty, where I have to concentrate 100%. So
that's why I love doing casual
then
stuff.
People don't want to watch the gameplay because I'm sucking, right? Yep. So like, there's definitely a
fine balance.
To it.
Well, in the other podcast, we could talk about ways to overcome.
That'd be great.
Yeah, stay tuned for Friday. We got a lot of things on the other podcast.
So we should probably wrap this one up, I suppose.
Yeah. Hey, what?
Yeah,
we're done.
Just for indie, yeah. We got some more.
We got another episode.
I have to wait for Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go sleep over there for a couple days. You'll be all right.
This has been Indie Please That Details, episode 22. Hi, Siri.
What's she doing?
This is our weekly dip in the world of indie games and indie developers, where we discuss the news and our indie excursions throughout the week. Topping it all off with topic discussion. In this case, a couple topics of discussion that you can join in the comments down below.
It's not often we
talk about Planet Coaster and
you did a little
City
bit.
Skylines.
Yeah, we're fine.
You can talk about it more on Friday.
You can listen to us on your favorite podcast services, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes. If you want to rate us on there, that does help a lot as well. You can see our lovely faces at level2gamers.com.
You need makeup.
Continue the
I
discussion
do my hair right now.
on off air but online at level2gamers STL on Twitter, or Discord link in the description. Actually, our Discord when I woke up this morning was like having a moment, and I was like, oh, hi.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Colin was talking about some games, and then some dude named Echo, shout out to you, you're new in there, started chatting some stuff up, and then
a moment.
Anna suggested a game we look at, and I've never heard of it, so I'm going to take a look and see what it is.
Good old Anna.
Yeah. But anyways, this has been Indie Please That Details, episode 22. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, welcome to the second level. Bye.
She's like, what just happened?
Ain't no game.